Provoland changed their name. Provoland.
Thank you, everyone. My apologies, we're starting slightly late, but we're really glad you guys are here. We're going to start with the public hearing. This is a petition to vacate a portion of Eagles Nest. This is consistent with the developer agreement approved by the City Council back in 2022. So if there's anybody here from the public who would like to speak on the vacating of Eagles Nest? Okay, then we will close the public hearing for the petition to vacate the portion of Eagles Nest. We will open a public hearing for amending the city fee schedule. Okay, hearing no public hearing, we will close the public hearing for amending the city fee schedule. And now we will open a public hearing for amending of the 2026 fiscal year budget. Bucky, you got anything for us? Okay, perfect. Not hearing anything for that public hearing, we will close the public hearing for amending the 2026 fiscal year budget. We will move into our work session. This is where the City Council will discuss and present. There will be no formal action taking during this discussion point. That will come later. We're going to move to number 4, update on the Planning Commission public hearing. Including the Planning Commission recommendation to approve the general plan and discussion of the proposed general plan. Wayne?
Our Planning Commission, last week, we had a public hearing on the general plan. It's been out in public through our website for several weeks, including all the updates and changes to it made by both the Planning Commission and the City Council. As you all reviewed it, we did not have any further public comment on it or recommendations that came from the public. The Planning Commission took a vote on it again in its completed stage. And it was unanimously approved and recommended to you all, the City Council, to approve it. I might mention that there was on our 3-4 weeks ago a semblance of a strategic plan that was provided to us by the committee and Daniel Jensen, the contractor. We did not include that in our recommendations. We felt that there was sufficient goal setting within the general plan itself. So we're not recommending any part of that strategic plan. Up to you whether you want to adopt it or not, but we felt that the general plan was sufficient and could stand by itself in that regard, so.
Are there several references in the general plan to the strategic plan?
There were, we took them out.
Okay.
And not that they can't be put back in should you choose. We just didn't feel that there was enough substance to the strategic plan to have it kind of stand on its own and be there, that the general plan was sufficient and covered the goals as needed as we went forth with the general plan.
Okay.
That's any questions that any of you have?
Carrie?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to remind the council that the general plan is the Planning Commission's document that they give to us, and it's a framework for the next, 5-10 years for our city. The strategic plan is not a Planning Commission document. It's a City Council document. So it's not even for the Planning Commission to approve or not approve. It's a plan, it's a city council document for us as council people to help the mayor and the staff and us make short-term goals so that the general plan is a living document and that we are moving forward in goals. So it's not a general plan document and it's not a planning commission document. It's a city council document. And so I want to make sure that we have a distinction between those two and why there's a difference. One's long-term, one's short-term. And so just as a clarification, I know the mayor was going to be asking Daniel from Sunrise and Kirsten from the Community Development Committee to come and present that today. And I don't know if they're in the room or not, or if you reached out to them to make sure that they were going to talk about it from the committee standpoint.
Kirsten's here.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Thank you, Carrie. Wonderful. We're good. Okay, then we'll move to the next one for the discussion of the proposed strategic plan. We'll turn it over to Kirsten.
Get all my handouts that are really small anyway, but.
And the council should have received that strategic plan and the matrix.
Okay, good, because I was hoping this isn't your first time seeing it, because it's really small. But I at the least wanted you to have some eyes on it, just so you have a little bit of an idea of the layout. So as Carrie mentioned, the intention of this is to help support the goals of the, oh my gosh.
General plan.
Thank you, general plan. And so it's meant to be a working document. It's not necessarily even something that we have to have like public. So I don't know that it necessarily even has to be like approved, but it's available for your use as the council and for the city. And if you don't like it, you can blame me. And if you like it, then give the credit to Daniel and Ted and all the others who put all of the notes and comments in. So as mentioned, ideally, I think you guys have at least seen this before. And so it's intended that at least yearly, the city recorder can work with all of those who are listed as being responsible for moving forward some of the goals, can review the strategic plan and have been keeping notes and progress and updating and keeping this as a living updating record of we're moving toward our goals. If you feel like you already have something in place for that, then maybe this isn't going to be useful to the council. I don't know that. So if it's useful, great. There is a 1-page that you could, at this point, I don't know if it's worth extending the time of the general plan to include it, but there's an overview. And so some cities will put like a website, a link to a web page that's just a PDF, right? Where it just says, yes, the city has a strategic plan. This is kind of what it includes, but the strategic plan itself doesn't necessarily have to be publicly available, like, request or something. And so it's just meant to be a useful tool, general plan. And any farther than that, I don't necessarily have.
Well, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, so unless there's any other questions, the only other thing I would mention is, I know it's like microscopic. You could choose, we made it so that you could filter by what chapter it is or whatever. We tried to color code it also so that it would easily be able to see what's land use and what's not, right? If that's annoying or confusing, you don't like the way it prints, ideally you're using this digitally on a computer. It's really not ideal for print. But, it's easy just to grade those out. Anybody that kind of knows a little bit of Excel could go in and fix that out. But we tried to make it a quick reference overview of these are the goals, this is who's responsible, and these are the steps they're going to take to achieve them. Okay?
Sweet. Wonderful.
Okay.
I've got one question for you.
Sure.
As to, your role, not necessarily on the strategic plan side. Is there any more deliverables for the Community Development Committee?
No, we wanted to try to supply this in line with getting that general plan through. So I think ideally we're moving together But I don't have any other deliverables, and as far as I know, the contract end of things with Sunrise, I don't believe they, have any either.
Then I'll try and coordinate a time with Daniel to review the contract, to see if we are in
Yeah.
agreement between he and I
Yeah.
on whether the deliverables have been met. But
In our last meeting, he gave a budget report and we were under by quite a bit, so. relative.
well, that'd be great. Love it
Yeah.
to come under.
Yeah, we
Usually
definitely
Ted's the only
weren't
one
getting
that comes
close,
under.
so.
Budget. Well, wonderful. Okay, Carrie?
Yes, I just wanted to publicly thank Kirsten and the Community Development Committee. They put in a lot of time and effort on the general plan and the strategic plan in organizing and getting those two documents ready for us. When I first originally wrote that grant, we put it in there to have a strategic plan. We've never had one before. And part of that is to distinguish between our long-term objectives and the desires for our city and what we think our city should look like in growth, but also then to make sure we're doing it strategically so our short-term goals are met. So that, and leaving that document flexible enough that if we need to pivot one way or another, but still align with the overall arching principles of the general plan, we can. So it's not written in stone. It is a living document, like she said. And I hope that we can approve it tonight so that we can allow not only ourselves, depending on which area of the city that we kind of help oversee, but also you, Mayor, as well, and the staff for those guidelines and those boundaries, recognizing the flexibility to be in that space and being able to show our community that quality of life is really important to us. But to maintain our quality of life, we really do need to have a strategic goal in place to keep it for what it is, because a lot of things are creeping in on us from all around, and we might need to change some of our modeling, but at the same time maintain what Woodland Hills is. And so I wanted to thank them for all the work that they did over the years in getting this done.
Well-
Kirsten, I just had a question for you, if I could. I mean, you've put a lot of work into this over the years, and I know that there's been a lot of back and forth. Where it stands today, what's your take on it? So it sounds like you approve it.
It. Which part?
Well, I mean, are there any, I haven't seen the final draft, and so I'm kind of leaning on you as kind of my gauge do we need to hesitate on an approval right now, or do you feel like it is where it's going to be? I guess is kind of what
I am all for lots of opinions and it coming together, and sometimes that means we compromise and sometimes it means we stand our ground. But I feel comfortable moving forward. Honestly, this has been a long project, and I think it's kind of about time we move it forward.
Yeah.
So I am all for that. A lot of the edits, I know there was, grammatical things and things like that, but overall I felt like the goals stayed pretty much the same. And the strategic plan, again, it doesn't add goals. There's no new goals in here. It just builds steps to the ones that are already in the general plan. And so I still feel comfortable with that. I know like dark skies, it's like a scary word around here, but I felt like we got to a good place in what I think is realistically manageable for our city. And just still making sure that we're listening to the residents, that they like their night skies. But we didn't necessarily feel like we then had to align ourselves with an additional organization or rules. So I'm okay with that, knowing that we have we're a smaller city and code enforcement things is a little bit harder at the size of our city. So I think we need to take those things into account. So overall, I feel okay about it. There's only one other section that, if my understanding, didn't continue in the new general plan. And it was that provision where you could again, I know the word density is not a good word around here, but you could potentially, preserve green space and take what that density would have been and apply it elsewhere. And so just because it's not the general plan though, doesn't mean that down the road that couldn't still potentially be an option. But it was nice to have that in the general plan because you just don't know 5-10 years down the road if the city council then will be aware that that's in state code and an option for a city to choose from. So I'm all for options. And so that's why we included that in there, but I'm not too set on, again, just because it's not in the general plan doesn't mean it's something you couldn't do in the future, but those are only, I think, the two things that were kind of the most discussed points of the general plan, but like I said, it's time to move it forward.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I know
Yep.
that was massive. I appreciate the undertaking. We'll take a look on the executive side for the strategic implementation of the strategic plan. Make edits where we feel would make sense for, our trajectory, but this
Yeah,
is a
of course.
fabulous starting point. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
We will also then look to, if needed, I'll work with Jody on this, but to see, what we need to dissolve that committee, so you don't have to keep having meetings and posting minutes and stuff, because I know you love that part of it. Make the
Yes,
job.
that sounds great to me. I've got
Okay.
a big project next year for work, so.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Is there anybody else with any questions, Brian?
Yes, so a couple of things. Kristen, I hope that you feel one of the things we talked about earlier in this process was, there was some disagreements between your committee and the planning commission. And I hope that you feel like we gave we made sure that we got your document and the changes from the planning commission, so we got to see both. And I wanted to make sure, I hope that you felt we did that well enough, that the council did get to see those, your original document, and then the changes that were recommended in our reviews of it.
Great. No, thank you for saying that. And all good for me. All good here. And I appreciate that you all took that time because you didn't have to. And so I appreciate that you took into account the work of the different members of the committee over time and the thoughts and intentions and desires that they had and the results we received from the city residents and the survey results and our public open house, all of that went into the overall first draft that came out of the Community Development Committee for the general plan. But of course, like I said, we support that there's other opinions, and that's what's the beautiful part of local government.
I have not seen the final draft. I haven't had time to go through it since it was sent to me. But if everything was put in that we talked about, I'm happy with that. Just to be honest, I wasn't very nice with the strategic plan. I don't know if you watched our council sessions on that.
All right.
But I think that what you're talking about here and putting short-term things together is something that we can definitely, I'm willing to look at, and I'm not sure how the rest of the council is, but I'm definitely willing to look at it and dig into it more. I don't think I'm ready to vote on a strategic plan tonight, because one of the things I felt is couldn't have a strategic plan without a general plan. Once we vote on the general plan, then we can go back and say, okay, does this align? Is this the things we want to focus on now? I think and I don't know that is needed by your committee. You put that, the baseline together for us, that we can work from and decide, okay, here's the things that we want to attack right now, and then put that in there. And like, I'm definitely not ready for it tonight, but I think it definitely is something that could be brought up and we can look at and dig into more. And I appreciate you guys put a lot of work into it. Appreciate it.
Just because something took a lot of work or time or people doesn't mean it's what you need. And so take it for what it is. And if you feel like it's not useful to the future of the city and its planning and accountability and organization, like, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. So, but yes, we tried to take in a lot of opinions. And opinions isn't the right word. We tried to take in a lot of feedback and information and input from different members of city employees and the different committee heads. Were like, these are their words. I didn't write out these steps. This is them saying, this is what I'm going to do because I'm responsible for this step that's leading to this goal in the general plan. So that strategic plan was put together by a lot of people beyond the Community Development Committee. So take that for what it is.
Good.
Thank you.
So maybe just quickly, on the strategic plan, when you wrote the RFP for that, the intent of the strategic plan was to really be an immediate action document. Nothing comprehensive, because part of the challenge that a lot of communities have with general plans is, other than the planning commission, no one else ever really digs into it. And maybe the planning commission, but no one really understands it. So out of those general plans, though, come some goals. And so the strategic plan was meant to be what's a short document that can get us to moving on these general plan goals, something we can start tackling right away. It's really meant to be a staff level document,
Right.
not a city level document.
Which is why it's an internal.
Which is why it's an internal document, because it's what can us as a staff be doing to start the process of getting the general plan recommendations underway. So when we put this RFP together at Pick Sunrise, that was the purpose of the strategic plan. So it's not meant to be a completely involved document. It's not meant to be really kind of a something that we're going to use to apply. Obviously, it's available citywide, but it's meant for the staff. So I spent a bit of time with Daniel on this strategic plan thing, talking about some of all the departments and goals and stuff like that, and what are some of our stuff we can start tackling right away. And so that's kind of the purpose behind the strategic plan. So I guess what I would be just admonish the council is, don't spend a lot of time trying to doctor up, change. Not to say you don't have feedback, can change the strategic plan, whatever you feel, guidance for the city, because but we want to start these things sooner rather than later, and not spend another 6 months trying to dive through a strategic plan and get it so complicated that it just gets shelved. If that makes sense. So that would be just my input on strategic.
So that totally makes sense, but does that mean, I mean, to me, that sounds like more of a administrative, and on the executives, the executive side of things, it doesn't even sound like something we need to adopt as a city council. If we adopt the general plan, and this is the way that the staff team is going to attack their things in it, and even if there's some involvement with council members, it doesn't sound like it's something we need to adopt and make official. How is that normally done, Ted?
And I would leave that up to the council on a strategic plan. I've seen other communities do these for the same purpose. They're very, or I should say, they're relatively new in the industry. We'll call it now new in the industry, is last decade or so, for that purpose. Now, to give you an example, the general plan might say something like, we want to have better roads and change the width of the roads, right? Which is a very general goal. What the strategic plan does, it says, okay, and then to accomplish that here's what Ted needs to do in years 1 and 2. We need to start figuring out, what is our budget? What does this take? What roads do we need to do? What is our priority? Years 3 to 5, okay, now we can start tackling the design and construction of these. And so that's the idea of the strategic plan, to take some of these general plan things and actually make them actionable for the staff. Things that we can start doing to make these general plan ideas actionable. So it's kind of the purpose behind a strategic plan. Whether you decide you need to adopt it or not is up to you guys, but that's kind of to give you just a basic idea of why the strategic plan is there, for the staff to start figuring out how we tackle these very general plan ideas.
So it goes back to, I don't think the legislative branch's job is to run the executive branch's team. And I think that gets us into a really bad situation there. I think that this, in my opinion, this isn't the council's job to tell the mayor's team how to execute on what the council has set as goals. My opinion, again, this is why we have a work session, but that's my 2 cents. I'll let other council members and the mayor put in theirs as well.
Brian, I agree with you. Really, what I would say we vote on tonight is this cover sheet for the strategic plan, right? That is what you guys would say, let's put that on the website as the strategic plan's cover sheet. This matrix is something that would stay internal. This would not be a public facing document. This would be, what do I have the staff doing? What do they feel that they need to do for us to execute on the general plan? So the matrix is not up for a vote, in my opinion. I think we're looking to just really vote on whether we want to keep or vote on this cover sheet or not.
And I would just add, like Ted said, these strategic plans look very different across cities. Some look like this, some are just the overview, like they're very broad. And so if you feel like the overview is helpful, I think especially if it's not in the general plan, maybe it's helpful for residents to know that the city is trying to measure and keep to their KPIs or things like that. But it's an accountability document internally, right? And so that would maybe be where the overview serves a purpose. But again, this isn't like a required thing. If it works for the city, great. If it doesn't, that's okay.
Wonderful, thank you. Anything else for Kirsten? Kevin, good. Again, thank you. Fabulous work. Okay, then let us move on to number 6, discussion of proposed ordinance vacating a portion of Eagles Nest. Okay. Do you want to talk about this at all? Does anybody have any questions on this?
I mean, we've talked about it already.
We
We
have.
might just want to, Mayor, we might want to just remind the citizens who are maybe watching this later why we are doing this as part of the development agreement from the past. I mean, it's on the agenda that way, but maybe just give a little bit more of the history of that.
Okay, so I'm okay with that. Do you want to do that, Ted, or do you want to do that, Bucky, or do you want to do that, Wayne?
I'll maybe make just a comment. There'll be a public hearing on this, as we did before.
No, we've already done the public hearing.
On both of them?
This is just the one we're doing today, the Eagle Nest.
This isn't the.
Only Eagle Nest is what we're talking about. We're not talking about the other one. This isn't property. So the public hearing was just held prior to this meeting. So
Okay, yes. This is the second time we've been through
this, yes.
this particular issue, and I don't know if it would be beneficial to put a portion of the development agreement out there just for people to look to see again, not as a public hearing, but just as a document.
I think it's available in our previous minutes,
Minutes.
right? So,
Yes, we can put
Yes.
it in, we can attach it to these minutes, but this was something that was agreed upon when the council agreed to the development agreement that was signed in 2022. In exchange for this vacation of road, there was some improvements done on some not finished city roads, particularly Bear Hollow, and some improvements up and down Summit Creek that were in exchange for this as part of the development agreement.
this is really just a technical exercise that we need to do to make sure we check all the statutory requirements to honor the agreement that we signed into 2022.
And also our attorneys reviewed all of this
Our attorneys, Summit Creek's
before it was
attorney
agreed
has-
on.
We've even had them review this. And the ordinance has gone to the attorneys as well, and they've reviewed it. And so it's
I just think that's important too, because we want to
Yeah.
make sure it's clear.
And Councilmember Pratt, I think, knocked off about 5 years of his life expectancy going through this and all sorts of fun stuff. So,
Yeah. And that's why I just wanted to clarify, so anyone who may not have heard one of our past city council meetings, we've talked about this for years, but just to let them know, it is part of the agreement, legal agreement that we made with Summit Creek, and now it's time to do it. So I just wanted to make sure that's clear for anyone who may think we're doing this at the last minute. We've been doing it for years.
of course, thank you, Carrie. Okay, then let us move to number 7, discussion of the proposed resolution amending the city fee schedule. Do you want to tackle this, Jody?
I'm happy to if you want.
If you would, that would be great. Thank you.
In your resolution, you will see some highlights that are yellow. Each one of those highlights where there's a potential change to the consolidated fee schedule. If you start on page 3 of it, past due bills, it's gone from 3% to 5% interest. And then we also include the in lieu water fee, and that allows developers, instead of bringing water shares to the city, they can pay the city $5,200 for the 1.0 or 0.90 acre fee.
0.90 acre feet of reserved, city reserved water share.
Okay. On page 4, we're proposing to change the home-based business license from $25 to $50 a year. 25 has been there since 2002, and 24 years later, it's probably time to increase that fee. It also allows us to do a little bit more tracking, send out reminders, and we're also looking to do that on a January 1 to December 31st basis, so that all permits would renew in January. Conditional use application license permits would also go from 150 to 200. Those require us that we publish with a local newspaper any conditional use application. Publication costs have gone up, so that will basically make us break even on those. We are proposing a significant increase to our land use application fees. When the new House bill passed and we got rid of preliminary reviews and we just went to a final subdivision review, there's a lot more that goes into those subdivision reviews. Our engineering costs to review those seem to be a bit more. And when we did a analysis of what we're paying out as we tracked certain subdivisions, we seem to not be recouping our costs. And so this is helping us in the future to pay for what it's actually costing us to approve a subdivision. So those fees are there. Changes on page 5, again, are fees that are pretty much a pass-through. Annexation requests, again, it's the publication, it's sending out notices to everyone. It's staff time, engineers time to review things. So these are just kind of after looking at what we've been charging and what it's costing, we're kind of putting those back in line. Same again with page number 6. There is a change though to an ADU application, and that's a one-time fee of $750, which covers up to 4 inspections. As we've been tracking our building permits and our inspection fees, seem to be running about between an hour and a half and 2 hours each inspection, and each inspection is $75. So when they go and they spend 2 hours there, we're paying for $150 and we're only recouping 75 of it. So again, it's going to be one of those pass-throughs. On page 7, the sewer impact fee that is a pass-through to Payson. That is increasing from 71.77 to 73.51. Again, that's not money the city collects in our, I guess you'd say, coffers. It's money that's passed through to Payson. We did propose a temporary occupancy certificate that would allow someone, once all their safety issues are taken care of, to go ahead and occupy their home. But there would still be some zoning issues that maybe need to happen, driveways that need to be finished, things like that. Reinspection fees. We are going to specify in our consolidated fee schedule how many inspections are part of a home, part of an ADU. That clears up any problem with people calling for partial inspections. In a sense, the permit pays for 18 home inspections. If you are going above that 18, you're going to get billed. Again, it's trying to recoup our costs so that residents aren't paying for construction costs. Do you guys have any questions? I know we've been asked by a resident on for Exhibit A on page 9 to identify what the yellow, red, and blue stars are. And I'll go ahead and put that in so that you can see those. Red are homes that have already paid a impact fee to the sewer reimbursement fee of $35.01. Yellow are lots that potentially could be developed and reimburse the city for the $3,501 fee. And red are homes that were built before the sewer line was put in that we will not get reimbursed for. So this was something that was put together by our previous public works director in 2018 when we installed the sewer line.
So they're all being served, but have not paid.
They can be served, but they may not be connected.
They may be on septic.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just saying this out loud. There are laws that if there is a sewer within a certain distance of a home, that it needs to go that way. And I'm
Within
sure
300 feet. But that we can't require if they've already put in a septic tank. Now, if their septic tank were to fail or require major improvements, right? Then we could require them to.
Grandfather thing, if they were there before the sewer.
makes sense. And I'm not suggesting that we go that route. I'm just saying that if somebody were to tie in, do we have the ability to then charge that impact fee at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
And we've had a couple that have chosen, if they've had a problem with their septic tank, to actually connect to the system. And then they have paid us the $3,501 that was done in the impact fee study that we had done in 2023. I think it was.
It's probably right around there, yeah.
And so
20.
So they wouldn't be subject to the.
they would be subject to the 7,000 as well from
Okay,
Payson.
for both. Okay.
So,
Okay, good to know.
any other questions?
Couple of questions, Jody. Hang on.
Yes.
The 5% on the late fee, is that capped by the state?
No, that's just what our treasurer suggested.
Just seems low to me for late.
We're friendly.
Too nice sometimes, Brian. We can't
know,
all
that's-
be hostile.
That I'm being hostile, Hutchings. On the sewer, when it's a pass-through, can we word it like we do the attorney fees, that just whatever Payson's charging us is what we're going to charge, so we don't have to keep changing it every time Payson does?
We could.
I just wonder if that's a little bit easier. And this next one, Ted or Wayne might know, and Jody, you might know as well. On the stop work violation, is that capped by the state?
No.
Because that seems low as well to me. If they violate stop work, and I get that subsequent are doubled, but I still think $500 is low for a stop work violation.
Does that continue to double? First instance, 500, second instance, 1,000, third instance, 2,000.
500 each time.
500, so yeah.
I kind of like my version better than yours.
I
You
love
know,
your
you're
version.
welcome to write it however you want. I did look at other cities so that we weren't totally out of line. And this seems to be what many other cities are doing, but you guys are welcome
I
to
can
write
tell
it
you what-
however you'd like.
The state's guidelines, when it comes to the legalities of it, generally say you recoup your cost. That's kind of what you have to base your fee at, right? So we have to look at recouping our cost. So whatever that stop work actual cost dollar is generally the range you want to be in. It's usually their guidelines from a legal aspect. I know a few times in my other hat, before coming to work for the city, there were times where that were, we call them liquidated damages, and we would put a set amount liquidated damages, but if you ever went to court, it just says you can collect what your costs were, regardless of what the document said. So it's generally the guidelines what we look at.
And an occurrence, I mean,
Yeah.
in theory, that could be 2 or 3 occurrences in a single day if they're going and back. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable. It's not like it's a revenue generator for the city.
And it's not
Seems
like
to keep
we
people straight.
just hand them out all the time.
Yeah.
Right? I think our public works and code enforcement officer try to work with the individual first. And it's only after, I think we've handed out maybe 2 in the last 3 or 4 years.
Usually too, our ordinances refer to it as a day, not as an occurrence. So if there are 5 occurrences during a day, it would be one charge of $500 for those, if it were to multiply that way. But our ordinance reads per day. So.
Brian?
No, I wanted to have the discussion.
Wonderful. Any other questions from you? No? Okay. Wonderful. Any from you guys? No? Okay. Gary, you good? Perfect. Okay, thank you. I saw your head shaking. So let us move to the discussion of proposed ordinance amending the 2026 fiscal year budget. So I want to go over a little bit what we did here. To make sure that we did this right, we actually called our city auditor, and he was able to kind of give us some guidance on this as well. Just for you guys' update, Charlene currently is going through all of her training to be aware of our software and understanding of that. So she's working to get familiar with all the intricacies of our city. She is planning to come and join a city council meeting here in the next month or so. And you guys will be able to ask her any questions. She first wanted to kind of be able to know what's going on so she could answer them first. Just so you guys understand where Charlene is right now. What we did is we went through the general fund and we looked a lot at what is this percentage of completion. And we then looked to make sure that all of those percentages were in line. Now, you will see there are subcategories within these primary headers. For example, in revenue, there is a number of these that are way over budget, okay? In the revenue side of this, we really don't care as much, and this is the words from our auditor, if we're above percentage on revenue. That's always a good thing.
I was gonna say, that's a good thing.
Exactly. If you look at our expenditures, though, there will be a few categories that currently are, like we have here, public safety. We're currently at 100.43%. That we will then need to fix at our final opening of the fiscal year 2026 budget. Okay. But everything else, you can see that we're quite a bit under. We're looking pretty good on those things. We've actually got a few excess funds in the administrative category this year that I reallocated up to it, that I think we'll be able to pull a few of those projects that we were maybe thinking of doing in 2027 over into this fiscal year, which will then, help us get further down our list of things that need to be done, especially here on the building in 2027. So that's why the expense general government percentage is actually quite low. So we'll be working on that a little bit this month. But do you guys have any questions for us there on these financials? Steve, got anything for us?
No, I haven't reviewed it in depth, but it looks really good. It just is the cleanup and the catch up all going pretty well then?
Yes. Yeah, we have found a number of things that we've been able to kind of figure out what's going on. We've gotten those squared away. We've pulled out a lot of the monies that we had transferred in here. We're actually making a deposit back into our savings of, I'm not seeing it here, Jody. What is it, 100 and something? 143,000 or something, if I remember correctly.
$154,850.
You just headed back into savings, so things are actually looking pretty good, 2026.
No, I see it, 154.
Perfect.
Trying not to cough.
And this
So-
budget needs to be, you need to adopt your amended budget just before June 30th, and that's why it's on tonight's agenda.
Okay, perfect. Then I will have a recommended motion when we get to that point, so we can get that last little clerical issue with that one budget. Okay? Well, wonderful, thank you. We will move then to the discussion and proposed contract with Larson and Company for the independent auditing service. So you guys will see in your packet, this is the contract that they have sent over to me. If you guys approve it, this will then lock us back in for the next few years. And you can see how the pricing shifts and changes as we go throughout from 2026 and on. And this is for the next 6 years. In talking with Charlene, she recommends with the transition for her position that continuing with the same auditing firm makes a lot of sense. I have spent a decent amount of time looking at the other auditing firms, asking other cities who are they using, asking other, like our banker, what he's heard about different auditing firms, and Larson really does get a very, very high review. So things have gone really well there. Carrie?
Did you say this contract is a 5-year or 7-year?
In between that 6 year.
Oh, 6 years. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So, I believe, am I speaking that truth?
Yeah.
Because it says here we have prepared a preliminary time and expense budget for the next 6 years.
Yeah,
Yes,
Can I make a comment?
I don't know.
Thank you.
I might make you wait till public comment. No, please.
It's on this.
know.
We've had this auditor for at least probably 10 years. Jody would know best. The state recommends every 5 years we change auditors. That's in a written document. I can understand Charlene wanting to keep the same one this year with familiarity and everything and so forth, but I would suggest you keep it open for after this year to see what some alternatives might be. Again, they're very familiar with our records and everything, and that's probably a plus for them as well as us. But there's a benefit to changing too and seeing if there's some things that got overlooked or need to have greater attention to them. And I think we need to keep our options open in the future, other than this 1 year. So just a thought.
Thank you. Okay, any questions on the audit company contract? Yes, Steve.
So did we get a break for entering that 6-year contract? Like a cost break? Is that why we're doing that, or?
Typically, these contracts, from what I'm learning, are typically between 3 to 5 to 8 years. And this one's just for 6. And that's probably a very negotiable option.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just looking at previous years here sideways. It looks like we were 13 and 14,000.
Yeah, so we're only going up 1,000.
Yeah.
Fractionally. Okay. Thanks, Julie.
I do have a question, Mayor. I mean, I think Wayne's comment is correct that the state auditors suggest that you change up every so many times, maybe only have them 1 or 2 contract cycles and then get someone new, just to make sure that familiarity sometimes gets in there, that things may be overlooked just because it is so familiar. Did we consider that at all, or did we ask anybody else for a bid, or we just feel good about Larson? What was the rationale or process?
I did not ask anybody else for a bid. This was just their natural cycle of sending out the new bids because our time frame is up with Larson and Company. In my conversations with other cities on who they go, or other service districts on who's doing their audits, and then also consulting with Charlene, those different points of information is what I am now deciding to recommend that we do continue with them for at least a year. I think relooking at it would make sense, and I can actually renegotiate this contract, pending on the motion to which you guys make or don't make, to make this a 1-year contract versus a 6. And then we could send it out to RFP next year, for example, or we can just send it out to RFP now.
So Mayor, I was looking that up because it actually sounds like a really good idea. Utah Administrative Code R123-5, cities must competitively procure accounting and auditing services at least every 5 years. You can select the same ones. They do kind of push towards, getting fresh eyes, but we are required by code to competitively bid this every 5 years. We probably have good reason. We don't have to pick the cheapest one, but we probably have good reason to keep the same auditor at least for the next year, like you recommend, or like you're recommending. But code does require that we do an RFP on.
Do we know when the last time we did an RFP for our auditor was, Jody? You want to take a look at it when we continue here? Just interrupt if you figured that out for us. I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other thoughts or discussion? Okay. If you find that out, Jody.
So it would have been in 2021. I wrote one earlier this year and sent it to our prior financial director, and had to change. But it was in 2020 that we got the last one.
So we are due for it. So we do need to send this to RFP then.
We probably should, yes.
Okay, then I would recommend that we table that decision for right now till we send it through that process, since we're bound statutorily. Okay, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you all. Number 10, discussion proposal ordinance amending city code 10-4-5E. I can go over this unless you guys want to. Ted, do you want to talk to this or? So this is for our natural hazard study. There is, I believe we have certain geographic regions that our code currently requires that they get, not everybody, but if you fall within a certain geographic region, right? And some of those homes may necessarily not actually need them. And so what this code amendment looks and will do is basically give the engineer, so actually point E here is a natural hazard study for homes located in identified hazard areas if required. So it'd give the engineer of record there the ability to just have a little bit of discretion on whether they feel that site needs a hazard study instead of just imposing that requirement on the builder and the homeowner.
That's
Yeah.
our engineer that makes that determination, not the engineer of record.
Oh, thank you for that correction. So that is Johnson DeMille currently. That would be Ted? Okay. So our community development director. So, perfect.
Sherry Berber has her hand.
Sherry, if we could, if you can take note of that in the public comment, we'd love to hear from that. Thank you.
Will there be a delineation on that? Or is it more discretionary?
No, so we some years ago had a natural hazard assessment map completed. And the map basically identifies where we have certain hazards that we have to be aware of. Obviously, in those areas, we want them to be looking at certain elements of the hazard. So what this kind of allows us to do is, one, focus on those areas, and two, make sure we're getting the correct information. So they're not just looking at anything out there, you know, like if they're on a potentially identified or a potentially mapped fault line, we can have them go out to a fault line study. Okay. If they're not in a fault line area, then there's really not a reason for them to have a fault line study. This is just a balance of making sure we're getting, keeping the future homeowners as safely as we can by requiring what we need and not be so general about it. And not be just carte blanche either.
Yeah,
Requiring $30,000 studies when really they're not in an area that's a concern of a fault line, you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I mean, I know when I built my home a few years ago, it was a requirement on my house, and it's painful, but I'm also glad that I had it, and it forced the review of all the USGS documents and making sure that everything was
It
there.
doesn't prohibit them from doing it if
Right.
they choose to do it.
Right.
There's still an area we've identified as a hazard, certainly we're gonna It's just some of those to sit outside these hazards areas, especially when you start building out down the agricultural lands. I mean, there is one little fault line that comes off there through Lower Canyon area. But the rest of that, there's no identified hazard, so it's
Yeah, just needless to do it. Yeah, I guess my primary question around that is if we change it, there's a way for people to know that, you know, there's a way they can go look and see if their property is going to be subject to it before they are invested.
Yeah, the hazard map is part of our building package, so when they get in the building department website area, we have our building permit package and all that in there, the map's actually in there, so they can look at the map.
See what they're exposed to. Okay, cool. That's my only question about it.
Brian, you went unmuted there for a second. Did you have something?
Well, I was just wondering about the map, and we have identified everything in the map needs to have a hazard study, correct?
Well, so the way this code would read is it's up to the engineer to require that. But the answer is yes. If it's on the map, we're gonna request that they get a hazard study specific to what that hazard might be, because different areas are different hazards. So we want to work with them to identify what that specific hazard is, make sure they're doing the right study. Obviously, if they're in a hazard zone, we're gonna have them do a study, but if they're, for example, some of it's debris, zone, hazard zone, they may not be close to a fault line, so there's no reason to do a fault line study when really it's a flood study or something like that, you know what I mean? So we want the flexibility to make sure we're getting the right information in the right areas. And not just have them kind of say, oh, we need a hazard study, and they submit something that really doesn't do us any good. It's a way for us to work directly with them and make sure we're getting the right information. Yes, if it's in an identified hazard area, we will work with that builder, identify what the hazard is, make sure they're getting the right study done.
Okay, I just see that it says if required, that's our change, and it doesn't specify a lot.
And that's because there are some areas where they're not hazard zones and it may not be required.
Okay. But is there somewhere that it states that you're making this determination, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I think right inside that word, what he read there, say, the engineer, city engineer.
No.
No, that's in another part of the ordinance.
Oh. Yeah, continued, so the entirety of the ordinance, if you read the entirety of the thing, doesn't say.
It probably does. We're only adding the discretion element to this line. It's basically making the requirement of a hazard study discretionary per the authority of the city engineer, which would then come into another section of that chapter would delineates who. This just gives discretion on the hazard study.
It's 10-11, right?
Correct. I believe so. No, 10, 4 through 5.
So 10-4-5, if you, it's not in 10-4-5, if that's where you think it was, Wayne.
We have a whole section on hazardous study. And it addresses it there. This is just another 10-4-5 is another reference to having a study done. And the council has already passed the change, the overall broad change to requiring it. This is just another place in our ordinance that addresses it.
So this is basically making it consistent with the entirety of the ordinance, is what we're doing.
Yes.
It's not changing what hasn't already been done, it's just making it consistent with the other change.
Okay. Does that answer that for you, Brian?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I thought that we had it in there before with the men. I just wanted to make sure that somebody just couldn't willy-nilly say, well, we're going to require you to do it. That we needed some kind of backing. We needed some professionalism on that.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, we are going to move to discussion point 11, discussion of America 250 celebration schedule for July 5th, 2026. If Councilmember Lunt can not die on us.
If she can talk. So I wanted to give a little bit more information, I think, on America 250, just to make it clear. This is a national thing that's going on all over the nation, and there's a lot of things going on in our state. There's activities that are actually starting on June 27th, and there's different kinds of things going through July 5th. But July 5th, what they wanted nationally, they're calling it America's Potluck Dinner. And so we decided to participate in that. So we're doing a potluck dinner, and it's a Sunday, July 5th, and we'll be at the city park. And we are going to have a band that is it's not rock and roll, it's just a very like oldies, feel good kind of music. We're gonna have a sing-along in the middle of that, so they'll do like a 45-minute set, and then they'll take a break. And then we're gonna sing some patriotic music. So we've got somebody else that will come in, not the band. Somebody else has volunteered to come and do the sing along with us. And then the group will play some more. We have a sign up genius that we just loaded. I just put it in an hour ago and I've already got 4 people signed up. So that's amazing. It's on our Facebook page, the official page, and also on the community page. And we would recommend that people go in there and sign up for items that they want to donate or help with. We're hoping that everybody, you're going to bring your whole family. So we're hoping that you'll bring a big side dish, at least enough to feed your family and a little bit more. And then if everybody shares, then hopefully there's a lot of food, a lot of good food to share with each other. But we have categories. So we have one for volunteers. So hoping we can get some people that'll just kind of help clean up, set up, whatever. And then for sweet salads, savory salads, chips and dips, fruit bowls or fruit platters or veggie platters or desserts. And then there's other, like if there's something else you want to bring, I imagine we'll get a lot of watermelon. That's okay. Might be bringing a watermelon myself. But we're excited for that. It should be a lot of fun. We're not spending any money. We're trying to keep it pretty low key. We're not going to rent tables and chairs. We'll have tables and chairs and the pavilion for our elderly citizens. And I think I'm going to make a little sign, maybe like a reserved kind of sign for those tables so that people don't fill in those tables. But we're really trying to get it out there that, you need to bring your chairs, your camp chairs. And if you want to bring a shade and set up a shade on the lawn somewhere with your chairs. And it's just supposed to be, real picnic style. So we're having homemade root beer. All of the ingredients for that have been ordered and reserved. So we're good there. So yeah, I think we're good. I don't know. Anything else you want to add? The money is coming from the county to pay for it. So it's not being paid by tax dollars at all. So
Not from our budget.
That's not true.
yes, not from ours. And so it's great because we have a little budget of funds that were given to us for the celebration, and we're sticking to that budget.
Carrie?
Yes, I just wanted to reiterate too that it's a national event. For the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they've asked everyone to fast for religious freedom. And it actually started in Utah to have this potluck break the fast afterwards. And it has since then gone national, and lots of different religious organizations will be fasting and then having a potluck afterwards as well. Some are doing it within that church community. Others are doing it within neighborhood communities or citywide organizations. Our city is small enough that we do feel like a little small family. And so I think it's very appropriate that we have this at the city park, coming together as a community. We have very few community experiences like this. And yet it showcases to our military who have served and sacrificed a lot that our religious freedoms mean a lot to us. It showcases to our youth that this is something that we hold dear to us. And I'm really grateful that our city is participating.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Janet. I'm really excited about this. I think it'll be very, very enjoyable. We hope everybody will come and attend. I think it's important for us to celebrate the birth of our great nation. I think it's important to celebrate those that have laid down their lives for us to have these freedoms. And I think it'll be a great opportunity for us to be able to spend some great quality time together, get to know each other a little bit better. I think it'll just be a lot of fun. So I hope everybody will come.
And I've talked about this before, but in Payson, all summer long on Sunday nights, they have a community band. And the community band, they practice all the time, and then they need somewhere to perform. So they perform in the city park almost every Sunday night in the summertime. And families come and they bring their chairs and they hang out. Now, in Payson Park, they have a lot more big, tall shade trees. So it's really shady and nice. So we don't have as many big tall shade trees, but like I say, if people will bring their canopies and their chairs, we can make, and then invite neighbors that don't have canopies to come sit under ours. We can share and join together. I think we can have that really good community feel. And that's really what, the Day of Rest is about, I think, is looking after our neighbors and spending some time together. So I think it will be good.
Thank you.
I'd like to suggest that the council and mayor consider maybe a one-page message to those who attend the city. We've had some nice comments made in newsletters, something along that line that could be handed out, people could take with them and give some reflection to for this time period.
Like our, what being an American means to me, some of those.
Yes.
Yeah, some of those were so good. And we need to do some more. I need to get some more.
I guess the other thing we could do is pass a resolution as a city council that just acknowledges the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country, and just have that as part of our next council meeting. It's a suggestion.
I believe we actually already did that. So
Oh,
we did that. When was that, Jody? May? April?
Sheesh.
It was in a previous month to this one that we passed that
I
resolution.
guess I forgot it. I guess I must have forgotten it. Sorry.
You might not have been there.
You might have been absent on that one, but we did. So that was a great idea. So great that we've already accomplished that. I like those.
Great.
Okay, thank you all. Number 12, May 2026 financials, the check disbursements. Any questions there from the council? Okay, then we'll move to number 13, update on city grants. Ted, do you have anything on that?
No. Well, work's moving forward. So,
What's our time frame on that?
ASAP, that's what I gave the engineers. So, they'll actually be out surveying it tomorrow. So, we'll start the process of getting the survey done for the area, and then they'll start working through the design. Design shouldn't take too long, and then we'll figure out where to go from there.
Our Woodland Hills Days committee was just wondering, for Woodland Hills Days, what phase those would be at. Will we be planning a pickleball tournament as part of Woodland Hills Days?
Likely not, because it just the bidding process itself takes almost a month. So even if we had the design done in a month, we probably won't be starting construction until sometime around end of August, 1st September.
So then they were hoping that maybe we'd have cement pads and nothing else, and we could use the cement pads for Woodland Hills Days for the band or something.
Could be, yeah, we'll see how fast we can get this right. I don't know if we might be doing it this fall, but it's all gonna depend on scheduling of contractors and getting the design documents done.
Yes, there's a lot of variables, I understand. I just wondered if you had.
It's in the. We publicly advertise, okay.
Okay. Ted, then we'll move to you for your departmental reports.
Do you care if I real quick on that?
Please.
So we were talking at the last meeting about just public support on that, whether we can get some sweat equity from the city, whatever work. So it's matching the grant a little bit. I've also reached out to a couple of brick and paver suppliers, so I can start to, I don't have any official costs yet, but that way we could do some sort of a presentation to the public if anybody wants to put their name on a block, and we can figure out a program there if that's of interest, because.
You have till after July 5th, and then we're gonna start promoting.
And then it's over with, okay.
No, then we're gonna start promoting the blocks.
Okay, sweet.
We're gonna do America 250 right now, and then.
And then we'll
can-
hit that, yeah.
So you've
we'll
got a
keep
minute
quiet
to
on that.
figure it out, like a
Okay.
week.
Yeah, so there's even a couple things just to add on to that real quick. There is a connector piece. So the pickleball court is there's a trail segment
that runs north and south that connects kind of the one trail that comes
Around.
around. The pickleball court's going to take out that little piece of trail. That's where it's planning to go. But the walkway along what'll be the east side of the pickleball court will connect those two trails back again with some paths around either side. That's kind of where we're planning it now. So that walkway could be a paver walkway. Also, some bench donations. We're going to have some spots for a couple of benches, but not really included in the cost of it. So there's some a couple of bench donations.
Oh, awesome.
Something like that. So we could stick those there. And it'll be close enough to the pavilion. People could wait in the pavilion too if they're waiting for a court or something like that in the shade and stuff like that.
Okay.
But once we get a survey done, we'll come back with a concept plan and we'll kind of show you what that looks like and get some feedback from Parks and Rec. And since this is the Parks and Rec's baby, yeah, it's
been, 5 years, 6 years they wanted.
it was
At least
our number one voted item in the community that they wanted to see at the park was a pickleball court. So trying to bring Parks and Rec's doing a good job bringing to the community what they've asked for.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be a pool like Summit Creek?
Yeah. Next phase 2.
It's on the list.
So-
it's just way down the list.
So Ted, that helps. I will lean more toward pavers than, because I wasn't sure if we were gonna do sort of like a brick wall or something retaining, but I'll focus more on ground pavers then.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we'll need retaining because that spot we're looking at is fairly flat.
So are you
I think we
thinking
can
like
get back in?
pavers, like cement in the middle and pavers on the sides of each
Um,
names? Is that, or?
It looks sharp.
no, so let me draw this imaginary because I'm a whiteboard guy. Pickleball court is gonna sit like this, right? And this up is north, always north up.
Yep.
Sits like this, right? And pavilion sits over here. And you've got those two existing pathways and the one that connects them. We're gonna wipe out the one that connects them, putting this pickleball court in. But between there, we'll put like a walkway with some benches on it so you can walk from trail to trail. That would be a paver. And then we'll have it come halfway around the pickleball court to 2 gates, is what we're planning now, where you can get in and out of the pickleball court. So you have walkway halfway, and along this side, nothing along this side. And then you'll be able to access the pickleball courts from the center.
So if you had to guess how many pavers we could sell, like if it went crazy.
We will not sell more than we need.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
And we'll
It
find.
would be sad if we only sold like 3.
I've got a strategy around that too, so we'll talk about that once I've got kind of the whole cost
Okay.
matrix put together, but.
Awesome.
And the other thing that we're committed to doing as our in-kind work for the grant is the grading and sprinkler system relocation. And so that's something the city can work on. The grading, we've got a couple of excavators in the city that we've talked to that are willing to help us out.
Okay.
And then beyond that, it's really a trail. We've also got a trail planned from the north side of the pavilion to come from the parking area, what will be an ADA trail that will come from the parking area over to the pickleball court bench area. So, because ADA access is critical for that. So that trail is also planned as part of the project.
And the ADA thing has also been a big focus for Parks and Rec.
Will that have a branch off that goes to the pavilion as well? So.
Yeah, I think so. We hadn't really talked a lot about that, but I mean, it's running right next to the pavilion, so it makes sense to have something that you could have ADA access to the pavilion.
I think that would be a smart thing, so, okay.
So community help, grading, obviously equipment, we've got some people doing that. Sprinkler help, Toby's great, but anything he can get with community members that are familiar with sprinkler systems, because we're gonna have to relocate our sprinkler system.
I'll just volunteer my husband,
Yeah.
because he kind of fixed it at the park for a
Then the
long
grading,
time.
then beyond that, it's concrete and coating and some fencing and net.
Yeah, I mean,
Trail.
it might be kind of fun, and I know it kind of makes it a mess logistically, because as a contractor, I'd be like, no, we won't do this, but just saying, hey, Saturday, we're gonna have a community sprinkler laying party or irrigation party or something, you know?
There's so many good people in the community that love to chip in and help with that stuff, so.
Cause you know, if you get kids out and all that other stuff, it makes the whole project a little more meaningful and less things, so.
And hopefully this cleans up kind of that messy drainage area too, that's.
Yeah, that spot is a problem, so that'll be good.
Hey, Ted, any way you could have your contractor when they're, or before they come out to start the road work, just to give us an estimate on the little parking area there, or kind of ADA parking? Just to see if we could tag into that and save any kind of money for that parking area would be kind of nice.
And if we can get the
Well,
ends.
you read my mind, Brian. We're actually having a part sliding into Public Works report. We're having our kickoff meeting for tomorrow, for our paving project tomorrow with the contractor. And one of the things that we had talked about in the grant for the pickleball court was we would look at seeing if we can get that parking area paved. So I'm going to talk to the contractor tomorrow and just have them look at that, see what an estimate might be. Because if we can come under on some of our other work possibly, or at least not go too far over, we've got a little extra money that in our road budget, you know, that we can probably get some parking lot paving done there. So it gives a better ADA access to the park.
Okay, thank you. I just thought it would be worth it.
Make it easier for the teenagers to go park down there too. Once Eagle Nest is tore up, they're moving to the park and
Are they?
Sherry's house and
Great.
yeah.
Departmental updates.
Public Works, I think we've said we were kicking off having the pre-construction meeting for the paving project tomorrow. It was tomorrow. And then also maybe just to make you guys aware of something else that is coming. I just got the notice on it. We've known about it for a little while, but got the official notice. So the state Division of Drinking Water, it runs under the Department of Environmental Quality. With the cutback on federal grant monies available, which is what helps fund the Division of Drinking Water, they're now going to start assessing a fee to all public water systems. The state is. So we will get assessed a fee starting in 2027 from the state. For every, so the base fee, and it's not huge. I mean, the base fee is $35. And then the use fee is based on water usage. So it's the base fee of 35, and the use fee is based on the water usage. An estimate from the 2025 numbers for our city would have been $1,800 for the year. So, and it's, of course, the more water you use, the more that goes up. But I mean, still with us, it's going to be not a whole lot, but just make you aware that's coming up in 2027.
That base rate is assessed per resident at $35?
No, that's the total base rate.
Oh,
Let's see.
so we're talking cents per resident.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the base rate. And the use fee, so what they'll do is they'll give you from, I think that in July 2027 is when they'll send out a notice for the base fee. You pay that, and then I think around October is when the use fee is due. Between October and December, I think you have to pay that. And I said that's going to be somewhere around about $1,900 if it would have been 2025 for us. And of course, it's probably a couple $1,000s now. So
Makes sense. Thank you.
yeah, so that's coming up. And then just so you're aware, the fire crew has been out for almost a week now.
Where?
Right now they're on the Hastings fire.
Yeah. So many to choose from.
Yeah, which one?
Yeah.
Yeah. They started out as an initial attack out of Forestry Fire and State Lands Field Office in Cedar City, and then got assigned to the Hastings fire. So they're
Where's that one at?
over in Twilla County.
Oh, okay.
That one's about done. They've been, I talked to Lance today, they've actually back burned about 20,000. No, I don't remember now.
I think you said about 20,000 acres.
20,000 acres, is that what it was?
Yeah.
They started out at 5, but they've back burned now about 20,000 acres, I believe. And that fire, I think, is now about 85% contained. So they're releasing personnel, so I don't know where they'll go next. I know the Iron Fire is needing some personnel, and now they got the big one, the Cottonwood Fire down in Beaver County. That's just blown right out.
It's huge, fast.
Yeah.
I just got we have the app. I just got a notification and they said they're starting a back burn on the iron tonight. So there'll be a lot of smoke. So it says on the east side of the fire, smoke will be visible from surrounding communities through the night. So it'll be good, I guess. Stop it. They're trying to get it stopped, right?
Yeah, it's still growing fairly quickly. I think it's about 5 or 10% contained, something like that. And last looked at their reports.
Yeah, like 9, I think.
Yeah.
We have friends that live in they have the farms in Mesita that are close, not too far away. So it's scary.
Yeah. The one in Beaver went from 750 acres to 27,000 acres in like a day. It's huge. So.
Yes. Wonderful. Anything else? Any questions for Ted?
We've got an awesome fire group. We've even had people asking if they can help. We're on the Eureka Fire, Iron Fire. But
Yes, I think it's worth noting that all of the current fires in our state were man-made, man-caused. Is that true? I know it is for the majority. I don't know if it's all.
The current ones, I think a majority of them are.
I know Eureka is. I know Utah was.
Did they determine what
Bonneville.
caused Eureka?
Yeah.
You can't say?
It's not publicly announced.
Yeah, it's man-caused.
I knew that, but I just wondered, was
I
it
don't know
target
about
shooting or?
I don't know about the cotton fire. I don't know if they decided yet what started out.
Well, either way, please everybody be safe. Be very cognizant of the fact that anything you do could spark, could light something up. We just need to be very careful.
Our county's in stage 1 fire restrictions right now. Of course, our city has more stricter restrictions than the stage 1 county fire restrictions.
We should post what the city restrictions are. Can you do that or?
I think it would be really great to have the fire chief and maybe some of the other people in the fire department make a little video to just talk about our fire restrictions, but also about the fires that are all around us right now and what the fire department will be doing on the 4th of July and how they make the rounds around town. And if you see anything, call it in. Don't just say, I wonder what's happening there. Actually call it in. And so I think it would be great if we had a little video from the fire department.
I always love
A TED video.
a TED Talk video. They are fabulous.
TED Talks.
So,
TED Talks. He
TED
talks too
Talking.
much.
No way. That'd be great.
You know, my dad always said.
Is it appropriate?
Yeah, he always told me, he said, it's better to keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
I love that.
Sometimes we do prove that we are a fool. And we communicate too much.
Why are you giving me the side eye? I've been quiet tonight.
It's not up to you.
I'm afraid to talk. I might cough.
There was no,
Smoke isn't helping.
there was no ask for a helicopter. Did you just witness that? There was no ask for a helicopter.
I know.
You know?
He's dropped that topic lately.
No, they cause fires.
Oh, shoot, sorry. Lapse of judgment.
Okay, we're moving on to 14B. Do you have anything from Planning Commission or for enforcement?
Already said.
Already said, oh, I love those.
Do you want to? Okay.
I've got no emergency management, though I will state that we had a fabulous exercise on Saturday. We really appreciate those that did respond to the message that went out. We had just over around 60% after we went in and pulled home duplicates out of the mix, which I was concerned we'd drop quite a bit. It really turned out well.
I didn't have service.
It's okay. Steve didn't respond either. No, Steve's response had zero longitude, latitude, so it put him in the ocean. So we pulled you back in.
Oh, that's good.
So you got reallocated properly. We had a few. We actually had 109 that dropped in the ocean just off the coast of Africa.
Oh, really?
So Aaron has already worked on the software and pulled that bug out of it, so it can't do that anymore. They've actually been doing a lot of work on it today, and since the exercise, so it was really, I felt extremely successful and did really well. Carrie?
Yes, I thought it was really good too. There were some things that we were able to see that that we can work on, that we can be a little bit better at. But we had a good response rate. The Red Cross were on hand. We were the very first city in the state that they chose to come and help do assessments or to provide free smoke detectors. And so I was thinking that maybe Janet would like to put something in the newsletter about that. So with their contact information, some of our residents have a harder time, making sure that they're working, testing them, and they'll come in for free and put smoke detectors in your home for anyone, actually, in our city. And so it was a good partnership with the Red Cross. It was a good exercise in seeing how that software worked. And it was fun watching all of the hearts come up on the screen that we had in the big room there. And it showed Doral out in the middle of the ocean on vacation, and it showed some other people where they were because they used that. Those who took off their longitude and latitude, as the mayor said, were off the coast of Africa. So it was kind of fun just to see that that people were willing to be responsive, and it will greatly help our city in the future as we identify who needs help and who is able to get out on their own, because there is a lot of chaos when you evacuate, and we want to make sure that everyone is accounted for safely. So thanks to Aaron and all of the team who helped out on that.
No, it was great. One thing that we are going to be looking at internally as a staff is correlating our records. We're going to find out who was able to respond, look at what our systems were, those that didn't respond, see if we actually have updated information, contact information for them. We did learn that there was an update that took place on Everbridge. So we're really grateful that we did this, because we were able to find out that they had broken a few of our connections. And so we've been able to get those. We're working on getting those reestablished and re-updated. So if you did not receive a message on Saturday, we are aware of that. We're working on it, and that shouldn't repeat, hopefully. So
maybe we can make like a sign up genius or something for people to put in their current contact information, and then we can verify it if we wanted to. That might be an idea.
yeah, I think there will be a great brainstorming exercise that needs to happen to figure out what that looks like. Nothing from 911 Special Service District. For the mayor and council reports, personnel, I've already spoken where we're at with Charlene. Auditors, the rest of our staff I can't say enough good things about them. I'm grateful every single day as I come into the office. They are extremely competent and confident that we're getting everything done that we need to. So thank you, each of you, for that fabulous work. As for a legal update, I don't really have anything too new. Anything that you guys can think of for this body? Okay. We will probably need to, I do have other updates for a closed session if you guys so desire. Councilmember Hutchings, Planning Commission.
Yeah, Wayne's already talked about it and I missed it because my plane was delayed, so nothing for me.
Wonderful. Councilmember Jones, Public Safety Committee.
No, we only hold these once a quarter, so nothing new, just good stuff on the
Wonderful.
test. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Lunt, everything that you are over.
There's a couple things. So we haven't had PTR or Finance Committee. Events, I met with the Woodland Hills Days Committee last night. We have a really great group, and they're trying to level up a few things and improve those. So I'm excited for that. And we have kind of a folk band that's going to play, so it'll be a lot different than what we've had in the past. We've had kind of a old rock and roll type band before, but it's gonna be more of a folk band this time, so that'll be really fun. A lot of it will be the same. Hillary Weeks wants to level up the booths, and she's reached out to some kind of more high-end vendors that want to come, and are going to come and have booths. Not the same as Maple Fest, but to that level of like quality stuff. Not the same people, that's what I mean. But anyway, so kind of excited for that. And not that that's a moneymaker or anything, because the booth is $20. But, and she even told the vendors, I can't guarantee you, you know, how well you'll do, but they're willing to come and give it a shot because the booths are so cheap. So that's good. And then tomorrow night, I meet with our America 250 group. So I just need to get numbers from you where we're at on the budget, so I know,
Of course.
for the food, what I have left to spend. And then, because we don't want to go over. And then newsletter is coming due. So it's time for a TED Talk and a Wayne's World and stats from, you know, our law enforcement, and then anything else that anybody else has. And Bucky, if there's ever anything for Summit Creek that you want to put in our newsletter, we will take any and all contributions. So once a month, the end of the month is the deadline, and then like the first business day of the month, we get the newsletter out, and any events going on in the community or anything, like if there's something you want to let people know, it's like slow down on Summit Creek Drive, anything like that, let us know, we'll add it.
Awesome.
So, okay, that's all I got.
Wonderful.
Hey, Janet,
Councilor-
really quick on Woodland Hills Days. Have you reached out to our legislators, the state and the federal? I noticed that Mike has been going to the different city events. He posted on his Facebook page, and I was just thinking, especially where we've got you know, some races going on, we might want to reach out, especially after the primary closes and we see who's going to move on. Some of those might be interested in coming up. Just a thought.
Yeah, we used to invite them every time, but we haven't. I mean, I usually send something out to them, but it just depends on what's going on. And just in case people don't remember, Representative Burton did resign a couple of months ago, and Jackie Larson was his replacement. And so if we do invite them, make sure that she's on the list, as well as Mike. And then after the primary votes are in tonight by 8, we should know who is going to be on our ballot for Congress, which would either be Celeste Malloy or Phil Lyman. And so it'd be nice to be able to invite them. Usually the Sheriff Smith usually comes up, and sometimes our county commissioners come. So if you'd like me to invite them, I would. If you want to do it on your own, I'm fine, doesn't matter. But I think that's a great reminder that it is, people do like seeing them.
Harry, if you could take that on, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
You have all those connections. Seems like a natural.
All right.
Well, I know we already talked a lot about community development, Carrie, but do you have anything else there?
No, I did, except for, again, just reiterating my appreciation to the committee. They took it seriously, and I thought they did a really great job in all the documents that they produced and the time that they spent with it, and it was great.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll excuse Councilmember Roden. I should have done that earlier. I apologize. He is currently traveling for work. Anything for upcoming city council meetings? Obviously, we've got the auditor RFP that'll need to be on a future council meeting. Anything else?
I appreciate you just putting the America 250 on there, just so that we keep talking about it and citizens hear about it. Because I know a lot of people listen after the fact, so I like that we keep doing that. I mean, we've only got one more time, but let's do it one more time.
Well, actually, you will have only one meeting in July, and so
Oh,
we
yeah.
need to decide on that date.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that would be a good time to do that. I know we've discussed, so if we pull up calendars here, you guys, we have discussed
And
the
also,
14th, 21st, or 28th. So concerning
I
the
would
July,
rather do it in the beginning of the month. I mean, the sooner date, whichever one was the sooner.
the 14th,
Yeah.
does anybody have a conflict on the 14th? That is our standard second week. Jody, anything on your end?
No, we'll go quite a while to the next one, but it should be okay.
Kill any legal things. I'm good with it.
Always will, but
So plan August 11th to be a decent sized meeting. Carrie?
Yes, I also wanted to just, I've been talking to quite a few cities about what they've been doing for America 250. Some of them have been doing something clear from last July 4th all year long. And some are continuing on after this 4th of July. And we might want to consider something at Woodland Hills Day that just reiterates the 250 again in some way. Maybe that's when we do the pie contest or any of those types of things when it's already associated with our traditional celebration. But it wasn't meant to be just a one-day thing. It was meant to be celebrating all year long. So just a thought.
We already have that planned.
Good.
Yep.
It's already in the works.
Wonderful, though. Good reminder. Okay. Anything else, anybody? Does the 14th work, though?
Works for me.
Okay, let's plan on the 14th unless we find out that there is some sort of a requirement for public hearing or anything that we need to have happen that may push that. But I don't think there is. Unless Bucky throws something new at me. He probably will. Wonderful. Okay, then we will currently, I always look at that clock and it's wrong. Let's take a quick recess before our city council meeting. And let's plan to come back.
Give me 2 minutes.
Steve's always excited about it. At 7:53. That gives you 5 minutes. Okay, I'd like to call everybody to order for this city council meeting. We are on June the 23rd, 2026. We're going to have an invocation from Councilmember Malkovich, and then we'll have a pledge of allegiance from Councilmember Johns. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be gathered together tonight to discuss the needs of our city. We're grateful for the blessings thou hast given unto us. Father, we're mindful of the fire danger we have. And please bless and protect our city. Help our residents be mindful of their actions. Please bless the people of our state, especially those in the Eureka area who are currently evacuated. Help and bless the firefighters who are working so hard to protect and to contain that fire as well as the others in the state. Father, we're grateful for our freedoms to have a council and to have governing body to keep our city running well and that we are mindful of the decisions that we make. Please bless us this night as we continue to discuss and vote on items that are important to the well-being of our citizens, their health, their safety, and as we remember the quality of life that we all moved here for. We're grateful for the friendships that we have throughout our community and for the camaraderie and the neighbors and the sense of community that we have together. Bless us this night that our decisions will be thoughtful and intentional, and as well as our votes. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Councilmember Jones.
Oh, yeah. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Councilmember Malkovich and Councilmember Johns. We are now going to open the public comment section of our city council meeting. Comments are limited to 2 minutes or less. Only in-person comments will be included as part of the official record. Do you have anything, Kyle?
Sure.
Please, if you can, state your name.
Sure. 2 minutes, huh?
If you need more, we can give you a little bit more. It's more for when we have a large group
Sure,
here that I've got to.
Like one of me, I think, so. Well, my name is, am I speaking to the screen or do you guys?
You're speaking to us.
To us.
Well, my name is Kyle Bentall. I live over on Mountain Vale Way, next to the Dewey's and everything. I'm coming today to make a proposal, as you will, either of an ordinance or of permission in pertaining to archery hunting. I know this is kind of maybe a sensitive topic for Woodland Hills residents. I've talked to probably 12 to 15 different residents, some that are already either in the fire department here or in different spaces in Woodland Hills. Dan Jordan is one that I've discussed very heavily this with, and a lot of the other hunting community that lives here. So this would be an ordinance essentially with the population of deer. My background specifically is land management and animals. That's what I've done my whole life. I grew up in New Hampshire, very thick woods, low populations of deer, but wildlife everywhere. And then I transitioned to working in Idaho and Utah in land management of how to manage populations of animals and how to do it properly. One of the concerns that I have with Woodland Hills is the overpopulation of the deer and turkeys, specifically the deer and also the tick populations right now. I've found many ticks on me already this year, and I've never had a tick up here or in Orem or Provo before, and I've had probably 25 this year just walking around. I know that a drastic change cannot happen overnight to the deer population, nor that it should. I enjoy the deer more than anyone. I have probably driven around for a total of like 800 hours, and I'm not joking, after work, looking at the deer, photographing them. I have 25 signatures from landowners in Woodland Hills to do photography, to walk on their land, and to enjoy picking up the antlers and such like that. But one of the concerns that I have for someone like myself, which I know is kind of a rare scenario, I have a muscle disease. So I suffer from back pain. My ankle just happened and I broke my ankle, so that's not part of this. But I think there's two parts. One, the issues of the deer population, and that there is times where there's 123 deer on the Hanks property at a single time. And I can go around any given night and count 86 to 90 deer in this tiny area is not sustainable. And I've seen 8 different females with either one singular baby or 2, and that's just not sustainable for food. It's going to make the tick population go up, and also the car crashes increase. The other issue I have is the issue with poaching that has happened. There's just enough woods here that it can be hidden more than in Elkridge, but I myself have seen at least 1 or 2 reportings that I've found of antlers cut off deer, which is not allowed in off the side road places that I've contacted the DNR. I know in Elkridge there was 2 young teenage brothers that both had poached deer that they were not supposed to be on certain properties. But the difference that I'm looking to is to try to allow, at least for myself, ask permission, but if needed, a small ordinance as a trial to be able to hunt the legal distance, which is already, it doesn't go against any of the hunting policies because it's up to the ordinance of the town to be able to hunt 500 feet from a home, archery only, and you have to be a Woodland Hills resident. So that would be very limited people. And then it also has taken me 5 years to draw this tag for this particular area for archery equipment. So it's not like someone from Payson or another person could come up here. It would have to be someone that's background checked, that has a history. I know that it doesn't carry weight anymore, but I'm an Eagle Scout. I clean up everything that I've ever gone. And I know that there's different properties down here that are on city land adjacent to the Hanks property. I've gone to many different neighbors to try to get signatures to, originally when I moved here, to hunt on their land, but then I learned that it was not allowed due to the fact, talking to the wonderful sheriff here, that there's no ordinance in place to allow that. I am used to places where you can archery hunt. It just has to be 500 feet from a property. The fact that we can't hunt 500 feet from the homes, even on the outskirts of the city limits, I also don't really understand that. And I would look to ask for a change in that for at least residents, because it would still be up to the private landowners to allow that. You would still have to get the written permission and follow all of the DNR policies. I would much rather that than people going out with the DNR to shoot at night with thermals or with rifles, elk and deer, to contain the populations on the Hank property, and then have a list of people that they just give out the meat. I don't think that's fair to the individuals of the community that spend time on the tags, nor do I think it's okay for like someone like me who I can legally get a handicap sticker to hunt. But if you don't have a tag that's non-archery, all the deer are up super high unless they're on the outskirts down here. And that's why I think the outskirts of the town should be allowed at least for the 500 feet, not just in town, because those deer aren't dumb. You'll see them, you'll stop with a car and then they'll run away. The ones up here, the ones that are closer down where I'm at, or like in Salem, they don't really care because they're very used to people. That I think all hunters can agree. We don't want to hunt deer that are dumb, but also there needs to be a population. It's hard to manage conservation and ethics, and that's why I wanted to propose it and bring it up. So I wanted to hear your thoughts. That'd be awesome.
Well, I'd like to open this up to somewhat of a discussion, and I know I'm kind of going against tradition. Have you, in speaking with any of the residents that you have you had any that have expressed any sort of resistance, complaint, concern, anything like that?
I had one or two that said their one concern would be the deer running based on like a poor shot or whatever the case was to another property to pass away. What I'd say to that is that's the same concern of any hunting within towns or cities, no matter the size, everywhere in the country. I've hunted 8 states out of the 50, and I've done suburban hunting. I've done public land mountain hunting. I've done every kind of hunting. And what I've noticed, I have not had one single deer run more than 100 yards with my bow and arrow. And all of those deer either run down to places where it's thick cover. 90% of the time I've never seen, nor statistics show, that they run right to people's yards to just die. That's the last place they want to go. They want to go to cover or they want to go to water. That is what I've seen. And from the concern of the residents, that's been the only thing, where they don't want to wipe out all the population because they enjoy the deer. But I've also heard concerns of they eat everything I own, and I don't want to have wires around every little plant I own to protect that. So
If we can keep this, somewhat dialed in on time frame, but do you guys have anything?
We looked into a couple years ago, a program where, the DNR would come out, they'd have hunters and to thin the population, but they would actually charge the city $500 per deer to dispose of them. So at that time, because we've had other residents bring it up, You have the people that love the deer and you have the people that hate the deer, you know? And so we've had it brought up a few times, and that was what we found with that. So what you're proposing is a hunt where the people keep the deer and keep the meat.
Yes, and it also like something that happens in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, and Idaho. A lot of the towns, what they'll do is they'll have a council. So the person, let's say if I was in charge of the harvest report or the people hunting, it would be me and maybe two other people, if they even had the ability to do a pilot program to test it for 1 year. And then after that, there would be like a minimum, or a maximum of like, there can be no more than 6 people allowed to hunt in all of Woodland Hills or the surrounding areas. And that's how they do it, to structure it. That way you don't have people coming from other places. The whole point is it's for the Woodland Hills residents, so you don't have people flocking in here and people parked in people's driveways or cause any trespassing issues, anything like that. It's within the town and the town can do that. As far as I know with the DNR, the only reason why they haven't done that is because you have to go through a bunch of loops when they're the ones that are harvesting it or they're the ones bringing hunters. A lot of other places, the DNR will have to hire snipers or people that aren't even Utah residents to come in to harvest these animals and just take them. And I don't think that's good. And I don't think it's just one-sided. I hate the deer or I love the deer, because also I'm a hunter and I love deer more than the people that like them. And I know that's kind of hard for people to understand, but if you have a higher population of deer, the quality of the bucks goes down, the fertility rate goes down. There's a lot of other things, a lot of other scientific facts of what changes based on those parameters.
So I would have a concern for my pets, though, you know, a stray arrow.
And I would argue that with how thick the woods are and everything else, I personally have been doing this. I've harvested 25 deer with my bow, and I've heard of gun incidents or like shotgun incidents with stray like dogs running through the woods that someone thought was a coyote. I've never seen a coyote here. Maybe other people have. But we don't have wolves. I've heard them up higher near the mines and such, but I don't think the whole point of hunting and the whole point, you have to go through a course to know what you're shooting at. And even if there was a rule like, hey, you have to be in a tree stand, you can't spot and stalk, I'd even be willing to do that. So that way you're shooting down and you can't just shoot out. The whole point of I have a whole written report that talks about like how you would have to shoot with obviously like a backdrop and everything, but it just doesn't happen that people just go shooting animals and stuff. That just doesn't happen.
I just, you know, if they mistook a larger dog from a distance through the woods, you know what I mean? If you couldn't see it.
Yeah, and it would just be deer. It wouldn't be like all animals or all hunting. So I think that's also.
Jody, did you have something?
And Kyle, I have a quick question. So are you saying that there would be a written permission from the property owner? And would there then be any sort of accountability if they shot too far and it was on the neighbor's property where they didn't have permission? Is there something in your proposal that would have a written permission that would be given to the city, and then also that accountability if they went over a property line?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a couple different ways to go about that. One, you can get permission to retrieve an animal without hunting on their property beforehand. I've done that before. The other scenarios are you always have to have written permission. That's just everywhere in the entire state. But for the specific fact of hunting, to your question, you're saying if like one runs onto their property, is that what you're discussing?
Yeah, or if somebody, because we don't have fences or exact property lines. I mean, you know where your property lines are, but if you're hunting on someone else's property lines, maybe that's part of that application, is that you've walked the line with that property owner and you do not shoot over that line. unless you have permission from their neighbor to cross it. Because I think that goes to part of what Janet was saying. We don't want somebody saying, well, I think it was just on, a foot on this side and then it ran over. Well, maybe, but maybe not. So I think that it would be important for neighbors to be notified that someone's shooting
Absolutely.
on their neighbor's property, and that a deer who's wounded might come onto their property, but that the hunter themselves will not be shooting on the neighbor's property. I mean, just something to clarify.
Yeah, that's a great question. Generally, what you're supposed to do when you get property permission is not just have the one property, but the two adjacent at least, to get their permission for approval, just in case something like that does happen. But one of the ways to combat that is almost every single hunter that I know has an app called Onyx. And what that does is it shows you all of the property lines to a T within less than a foot, the property lines. I've walked a lot of property lines, and even if there's a stake in the ground, it lines up with it. And that's what you guys have access to through like city council. Like if it shows you property lines, it's the same data is transferred to this hunting application, but it's also an off-road mapping system that shows you the exact property line so you can combat that, to not have a guessing game of where you're at.
Good, perfect. Jody?
So I appreciate what you're saying. However, I have a very experienced hunter that lives next to me. And I ended up with an arrow in my front yard where my grandkids play. That's gonna be a huge concern the council's gonna have to hear is, you may be good and you may be able to do it, but that doesn't mean everyone else is gonna be able to. And to screen and say, yes, you're allowed, but you're not, the council could get in trouble with favoritism, liability, things like that. So that's something that you may want to consider, but he's an experienced hunter. I know he has shot a number of things, but to all of a sudden find their arrows in our front yard.
Were they hunting or archery? Just because you're not supposed to discharge a bow up here anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, they know it,
Okay.
but those things happen.
Sure.
And who are you all of a sudden? So I think you'd have to really be careful of who you're granting permission to and how you're going about doing it.
Yeah, and that's also the nice thing about, even, like I said, if it's the worst case scenario, just the outskirts, that would also help prevent those things, because those people tend to have the larger properties, especially near the switchbacks up here and all around these areas. It's not, even the places that are right on the borders of the city, you're still not allowed to hunt those. Even the properties that are thousands of acres, which I can't understand, but I'm trying to. But I think that's definitely important that maybe I wouldn't see it as favoritism, because I'm coming and I'm trying to plead the case, but I understand what you're saying. But the other thing is, the state or the people aren't liable if anything happens on their property, as long as you have written permission. It's on the individual. Once the person decides to go on their property, once you go on their property, the DNR has a law that says that they are not at fault. If someone's hunting on your property, they're not liable. So I also think that's important, because people might think, oh, what if he falls out of a tree stand, or what if he breaks an ankle on my property? Because everybody's sue hungry nowadays. I understand that side of it, where people are worried, but you're covered under the state, under Fish and Game, once you get written permission.
Okay. Do you have anything, Steve?
Objectively, are we overpopulated in deer?
To me, or yes.
No, I mean, is it a fact that we are overpopulated?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, without
is that the conclusion the DNR came up with as well when we had that exercise a few years ago?
I think it's every year is different,
Yeah.
right? Our population drastically decreased after the 3 years ago winter,
Yeah,
because it wiped out a large number, about, what was it, 70% of the herd, I believe I had heard, that didn't survive, which was extremely helpful for our herd. So I think it's a year to year basis. So one thing that I would like to do, without us carrying on for, because I think we could talk about this for quite a while. And since we are still in the public comment section of the council meeting, I would request that, and this is up to the discretion of the council, but I would request that we entertain the ability to explore this further. I think the way it would be extremely easy for us to say this will be hard, and thus it's not worth our time. I encouraged, when Kyle reached out to me, I encouraged him to come and talk with you guys, right? This is what I want all of our residents who have an idea and a suggestion and to come with a solution and pitch it to the council for an ordinance change. I would, put the onus back on you, Kyle, right? Because I think you've gained probably a little bit of feedback here to be able to say, okay, here's probably what this process, if we're able to be successful with a plan like this, right? What are the ordinances or state statutes that DNR operates under? Where do we currently fall? What would need to be changed on our end? And what would a process look like from a vetting standpoint, from a commission standpoint? It's more than just kind of like we did, you saw us today, we changed an ordinance if required.
Yeah.
This is a much larger thing than that.
Yeah.
We're going to need to do a public hearing on something like this, right? We're going to need to do a lot of work, and there's an extreme degree of scrutiny. This is going to get the population of Woodland Hills also out on both fronts.
Yeah.
It's a highly contentious issue. I don't want us to run away from it because it is that. I want all cases to be fought. And so that would be my thought is, I think there is potential merit here. I think the process could be built in a way that does do the due diligence while granting the rights to be able to do something like this. But I think it's going to be an uphill battle.
No, sure, and that's why I'm saying if at the worst case scenario, I would pitch not just the idea or the ordinance, but myself for permission, because that is something that's allowed without creating an entire vote. From what I understand, you do not have to create an entire law and get the entire town to approve one individual with like a co-pilot to be able to hunt surrounding properties if it's the own private citizens properties that are not right on like the city limits. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm young. I'm not a politician by any means.
You're getting in the process, and that's
if I have to have my company make a pickleball court and sponsor the pickleball tournament to be able to hunt, I'll do it. But I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're talking about some good things.
Sorry, Carrie has a question.
Yes, Carrie.
Yes, I just wanted to say to Kyle, thanks for bringing this. We've looked into this several times through the years. And at one point, DNR did come out and do a count and said we weren't overpopulated. But to the mayor's point, depending on the year, some years we have more than others. There are years that DNR has come and captured turkeys and relocated them to other areas. But with that being said, there are several cities throughout the state who have done this urban archery permit. And I would suggest in your quest to find out more information is to contact those cities and get their policies, because several of them wrote it the first time and found out, oh, we need to change this, we need to change that. So if you can kind of piggyback on some of the other cities and their best practices and what they've found out worked and didn't work, that will help build a different foundation and be able to maybe eliminate some of the concerns that both sides will bring to the table.
Thank you, Carrie. Brian, I don't want to skip you. Do you have anything?
No, I'm encouraged that you came to talk to us about this. I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth here, and I'd be happy to to work with you on this and kind of give you pointers, give you ideas, and liaise with the rest of the council and the mayor. I mean, you can do that directly, obviously, but if I'd be happy to help point you in certain directions. I'm not against it. I'm not necessarily for it at this point, but as a hunter, well, I haven't hunted in years, but as a former hunter, and Dan and I share a driveway, so I know Dan really well. I'd be happy to help with this, and if you want someone to help you get through this, you're going to have to do the legwork. I don't have the time, but I can help. I'd be happy to help you where I can.
Perfect.
And I guess my last question would be, obviously that route would take forever if it's open to everyone, and it's a whole ordinance created and everything. Is there a world where, let's say you guys say, nope, we don't want on the private citizens, but we have the city properties or the Hanks property, because there's already bylaws in place. If someone owns more than 400 to 200 acres within Salem or Woodland Hills, if the DNR allows it, you are able to hunt there. So for example, the Hanks property or the Woodland Hills city plots of land down here, is that something I can propose for permission to hunt without creating an ordinance?
Typically, over the last 4 years of me on the council, and now as mayor, I've always tried to push ordinances that are available for all residents.
Sure.
And so that inclusiveness, even with land abutting the city center, for example, right, I'm happy to grant utilization of that land if it's a capacity that all residents could take a part of, right?
Fair.
And so because city resources potentially for management or anything like that, it would need to be available for everybody.
Gotcha. So it can't be individualized like other cities have done.
The ordinance, and I'd be open, personally, I'd be open. Now, I'm not a voting member of this city.
Sure.
Right? I'd be open to at least take a look at it from what others are authorizing and what that ordinance looks like. But that code would need to be in place for that granting to be available.
Got it.
So, but
Sounds good.
thank you.
Yeah.
I know that was a lot of time. I think it was well worth it for the sake of what it looks like for bringing legislation to the body. The only question I last have is, it's like 100 degrees outside and you're in a sweater, right? No.
To be perfectly honest, I did not think I'd be here for 2.5 hours when I was 18 minutes late after work. So I didn't know how the meetings worked. So
Well, it's cold in here, so you're good.
this will come off immediately when I get.
You're good, brother. Bucky.
So we own like 400 acres outside. We occasionally get calls asking if they can, and say they have tags, and I have no idea what the requirements are, what the DNR requirements are, anything. So it'd be super helpful to know.
Yes.
Hanks for people that have property.
It's really only Hanks and you guys that have square footage or acreage enough to make this a question.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, I think, what we really need to address.
Yeah.
I think
So it's 100 acres or more. Landowner has to give permission, but there was something else that I don't have it in front of me, so we have to look at it and see. I believe the Hanks just split their property. It's not under one person. There's 3 separate.
So I know the Davis property was sold and everything, but who owns Northern Slope LLC?
That's Summit
Lucky.
Creek.
Okay,
So-
so is that even a part of the city limits though, or is half of it? Oh,
Portion of it is.
because it cuts into the public, that's why I was confused about that as well.
Yeah. There's some complexity here that we need to iron out. I think there's value, whether it's for this upcoming hunting season or future.
Sure.
I think there's value in us going through the legislative process to work through this. So
Sounds good.
not a quick, easy one like we were hoping, but I think we've got some good things moving forward.
I figured that could definitely be a factor, but I was like, if I draw the tag, I'm gonna try, because I finally did. So I was like, oh, might as well
Let's see what we can do.
give it a shot.
Yeah. Kyle, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I appreciate all of your time. It's nice to meet all of you.
Of course, thank you. Okay, Sherry, I know you had something earlier.
Okay, GES.
She might have. Oh, there
Hi,
you go.
no, she didn't go away. She's sitting here listening to everything you guys are saying. Just for point with regards to what Kyle brought up, I have seen coyotes on my property. I've seen a pack of them walking, oh, I don't know, just up on the ridge there where I can see, I saw them from my bedroom window. I've seen cougars, and I've also had a friend tell me walking the trail, she had an arrow whiz by her head. So just a little bit of information for Kyle and what he's presenting. My public comment has to do with 10.5.E, the hazard study. It specifically says homes with regards to building permit. I tried searching the PDF document to see where else hazard study appeared in the city ordinances. And I'm wondering how hazard study appears to city-owned property, i.e. up by the water tanks, and how hazard study applies to a developer receiving permission to develop a certain portion of land, i.e. northern slopes above the water tanks. It isn't just homes that we're talking about city-owned property. And we're
But I
talking
believe
about,
the hazard study is only required if a structure is about to be constructed, right? If no structure is being constructed, no study is required simply because that information doesn't really
So.
affect it. Ted?
So the city did a hazard study, right? That's what's identified all these potential hazards. So the city has conducted a citywide hazard study. It identified potential, I think it was debris flows or slides,
right,
seismic, fault lines, stuff like that. All these have been identified. This is all done through mapping. It was a geotech engineer that did the study. And so from these identified hazards, then when it wants to build something, you actually have to go physically do a on-site at the location physical study, which is basically involves excavation. You do when you, like, for example, you do a fault study, you have to dig a trench through the property and look for the fault.
well, my neighbors had it done in terms of avalanche. So I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
Yeah, we just did on our tank property for our new water tank we're looking at. We just had a fault study.
Well, that's what I mean. Where is it in code that requires the city on city property to have a hazard study done? It isn't a home that somebody's building there. It's city-owned property with a structure on it. Or the potential of somebody receiving planning permission to have a development put in. Do they have to have a hazard study if they're in that mapped area prior to getting planning permission approval, to give planning the information that they need to determine if this could possibly be a big hazard?
So,
That's all I'm asking, or not asking, but commenting on. Because 10.5.E is just homes.
Yeah, Sherry, take a look at municipal code 11.9.3 and it'll
Okay.
cover all that for you.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Sherry. Okay. Is there anybody else? Bucky?
No,
You sure?
I said enough tonight.
Okay.
I didn't say anything.
He said something about northern slopes. Wonderful, then we will close the public comment. Also for the record, I failed to mention that in person, we have Councilmember Johns, Councilmember Lunt, and myself, Mayor Hilliard. And then online, we have Councilmember Hutchings, Councilmember Malkovich, and excused is Councilmember Roden. So we will now move to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have items 21 and 22. That is the minutes for the June 9th meeting, as well as the special city council meeting where we spoke about the certified tax rate for June 16th. So I will accept a motion for either both for the entire consent agenda or each individually if anybody has any issues with either of them. Or we can not.
I will make a motion that we approve the entire consent agenda.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Lunt,
I'll second it.
Councilmember Hutchings with a second.
It made me sound nice.
What's that?
It made me sound nice again.
Oh, perfect. Okay, Councilmember Hutchings,
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda passes. Now moving on to the business, motion to approve the May 2027 financials and check disbursements.
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Johns with a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilmember Hutchings with a second. Councilmember Johns. Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Chris, you got that out. That motion passes. Ordinance 2026-12, vacating a portion of Eagle's Nest.
I'll make a motion on that as well.
Councilmember Johns with the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I'll second.
With a second. Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Johns.
Yes.
That ordinance passes. Ordinance 2026-13, amending the 2026 fiscal year budget.
You wanted to make some changes, you said?
Yes, I would recommend a motion for an adjustment of the public safety being added, and I'll recommend that we pull $5,000 from the general government fund, from the administrative line item, and add it to the fire budget of $5,000, which will then give us a buffer from an audit standpoint to decrease that percentage so that we are under the 100% for total public safety. That would be my recommendation of a motion if possible.
Okay. So do we need to revisit that or approve with your notes?
Can they do either?
Recommendation, or you can revisit it. Just a real quick thing. Total public safety is at 80.78%.
For the document I have here, I am at 100.43%.
Gave you earlier today.
This is the one that was on my desk in my packet.
I'll do that one. Do you have the time on that one on the bottom?
What does Polaris say? Can you pull that up?
This isn't. Oh, this you're looking, this is the May 2026 financials.
just ignore many people. I apologize, I'm looking at the wrong document here. Okay, then if you're saying we are under,
Saying we should be for public safety.
I was confused.
So there are not recommended changes. I mean, what I saw in it, I'm prepared to make a motion to approve, so.
If Jody is saying we're good, then I'm feeling good about it. I stare at way too many numbers. So I'll accept a motion
This
if
is the
you,
one that Lori gave me at 11:53, so I'm.
we're good on that one? Okay, then we're good. We did balance it all out. I'm just over here looking like an idiot, that's all.
No, you're good.
No, you just had the wrong document in front of you, that's all. There's a lot of documents.
Perfect, okay, then, so you've,
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Johns. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
Councilmember
I'll
Malkovich?
second.
Councilmember Hutchings?
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt?
Yes.
Councilmember Johns?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That motion passes, or that ordinance passes. Motion to approve the mayor to sign the contract with Larson and Company for auditing services. I would recommend we table that.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna table it.
Okay,
We'll move
Do
on
I-
to table. To give it our,
okay, and we need to, I believe, table it to a specific date, which I would recommend is July 14th.
It won't be till August, because we'll have to put it out to RFP, and that'll have to be out there for I think a minimum of 21 to 30 days. I'm gonna have to check really fast.
State changed that.
Okay,
We'll look.
So-
Financial loading, yeah.
table it to August 11th.
I think we would be fine to table it to the August 11th meeting, and then is looking at potentially being here.
Perfect, okay. Would that work?
I so moved.
Okay, a move from Councilmember Hutchings to table.
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Lunt with a second. Councilmember Johns,
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings,
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Okay, we've tabled that to August 11th. Resolution 2026-41, adopting the Woodland Hills General Plan.
I'll motion.
Councilmember Malkovich with a motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Johns with a second. Councilmember Johns.
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution passes. A motion to adopt the Woodland Hills Strategic Plan.
Just the cover page?
Just the cover page would be my recommendation, because that'll be
Yeah.
public, correct?
I will make that motion to adopt the strategic plan cover page as a public document.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Malkovich.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Lunt with a second. Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
No.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Johns.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes. Resolution 2026-42, amending the city's fee schedule.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve it with one change where we change the sewer impact fees to read something along the lines, doesn't have to be exact, but I'm thinking actual cost charged by Payson City.
So we don't have to keep updating it, is that why?
So we don't- Correct. So every time they change, we can automatically change. We don't accidentally not get changed and have to and charge someone a lower fee, and then we have to cover it. Regardless of whatever Payson City charges, we're gonna get that money from them.
Okay. So I have a second.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Hutchings with the amendment to change the sewer tax fees to be no longer a monetary number, but whatever Payson City is currently charging. And a second from Councilmember Johns. Is that a correct synopsis there, Councilmember Hutchings, of your motion?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution passes. Ordinance 2026-14, amending City Code 10-4-5E.
I wanted to
Go ahead.
clarify that, based on what Sherry was talking about earlier, about any structure or any development, Mayor, was it correct in you saying that those items are discussed in another section, not just in this particular section of code? And if so, then should we link the two to say, something approving, amending this code, and then also C code, whatever, that so it clarifies it with people who are looking it up, that it could be any structure or any development based on the criteria that the engineers will put into place.
In my opinion, as I've read 11-9-3, now Jody has and told me that it's also 11-9-2. I believe all of our concerns are addressed satisfactorily within these 3 chapters, and I don't think any linkage actually would do any benefit. It would only probably actually increase the complexity of our code, personally.
Okay.
But I'm not a voting member, so do whatever you guys feel you need to. So, with that being said, I'll accept a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Hutchings with a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Jones with a second. Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Lund.
Yes.
Okay, that amendment passes. Resolution 2026-43, appointing a mayor, or a member, not a mayor, appointing a member of the Planning Commission. This is a full seated member of the Planning Commission. This is the final need we had there. My proposal is a man by the name of Mike Tingey. Brian and I were able to interview him. He has, from our interview, he has exceptional qualities that I think will be a great asset to the Planning Commission. Commissioner Franson's also spoken with him, and I believe I can speak for the commissioner saying that he also would approve this appointment.
How many
I'll make a
people
motion.
did applied? I just wanted to know how many people applied for that position that you interviewed.
It was 4 or 5. What was it? 1?
Okay. I'm just happy to see that we have people who are interested in serving in various capacities, and so I like that there were several. So thank you.
And like I said in my video for this agenda, I think every single one of them would have brought something valuable to the Planning Commission. In my consultation and gaining counsel from Councilmember Hutchings, personally, I feel that the alternate and this commissioner appointment, I believe these 2 would bring the most value for our particular mix of commissioners. But we had some great options and candidates, and the others that we did not select are helpful in the city, and we really appreciate everything that they currently do as well. Do you have anything to add there, Councilmember Hutchings?
No, again, it was it's great being able to interview them. And I don't know if Wayne got to interview all of them or just the ones that you and I had gone through, but I believe this is our best pick for this position. And I think he's going to be a valuable asset to the Planning Commission.
Okay, with that, I will accept a motion.
Make a motion.
One more thing, I noticed on the resolution, it's effective June 9th. If we're approving it now, is that still true?
It'll be effective tonight.
Yeah, we don't have another meeting until after.
It was tabled last time,
Yeah,
so that's probably why it said that.
Gotcha. But the content remains that,
It was on the schedule, but then there was one more person, I think, that I remember that needed to be interviewed.
Yes, this individual I was having struggling scheduling issues, not from him, from me. And so that's why he was delayed.
gotcha, okay.
Okay, so I have a motion from Councilmember Hutchings. Is that what I heard?
I'll second it.
yeah,
Okay, and a second from Councilmember Lunt. Councilmember Lunt,
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings,
yes,
Councilmember Malkovich,
Yes,
Councilmember Jones. Okay, thank you. That resolution passes. I believe that there is an update that we could give you legally, or for legal update, in a closed session. If I can get a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion from
I'll
Councilmember
second.
and a
We can keep it
Councilmember Malkovich second.
I just need to go to bed.
Okay. And then we are going to be headed
It's like at
into
night. It's like
closed session.
worse.
Sherry, thank you so very much. We appreciate your input,
It's like,
your
can I lay on
thoughts,
the
and your support. Thank you.
Mayor, do we need to vote on that before you stop the recording?
Probably. Thank you. Councilmember Jones. Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate all of your patience as I.
What about me?
Okay, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Yay.
Brian, travel safe.